Can City of Dreams turn into a nightmare for its most vulnerable? In Los Angeles, where Hollywood's shine throws a long shadow, more than 72,000 people live, unhoused, their hardships muted by the constant buzz of wealth and fame. The fentanyl crisis tightens its hold, transforming despair into a lethal cycle. According to the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority in July 2025, 72,308 lives moved through this crisis in Los Angeles County, a decline from 75,312 in 2024. These figures murmur stories of endurance and grief, pushing us to face a challenge that measures our humanity. Let us step into the center of this struggle together. The roots of darkness, why homelessness persists. In Los Angeles, a city lit by Hollywood's promise, more than 72,000 people live without shelter, their hardships overshadowed by immense wealth.
They think that I'm just a broke, don't give a homeless person, and that's not true. I just try and survive, man. Survive the best way I know how. One thing I do need to know is, I hope this little segment or whatever this is does some good for somebody. I hope boys, they see it, they realize what the is going on, and back out of it before they get stuck.
This crisis of homelessness in America, sharply visible in Los Angeles, grows out of a web of economic strain, personal hardship, and systemic breakdowns. The cost of living has surged far beyond reach. From 2019 to 2023, rents increased by 22%, while wages rose just 10%. A minimum wage worker would need to work 80 hours each week to afford a one-bedroom apartment, a near impossible task. A deficit of 500,000 affordable housing units leaves families, veterans, and workers with few options beyond the streets. Personal emergencies intensify this crisis. One sudden setback, a lost job, an overwhelming medical bill, or domestic violence can dismantle a life almost instantly. In 2025, the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, LASA, reports that 21% of the unhoused population, about 9 out of 35 people, struggle with substance use disorders, while 22% face severe mental health conditions. These are not abstract statistics, but human beings caught in the grip of despair. Systemic inequities tighten that grip even further. African Americans, who make up just 8% of Los Angeles County's population, account for 33% of its homeless residents, a lasting consequence of redlining, discriminatory lending, and employment barriers passed down through generations. Why does this level of suffering persist in a country of abundance? The explanation rests in systems that too often elevate profit above people. Housing construction trails far behind demand, and the expiration of COVID-era eviction protections in 2023 pushed thousands closer to the streets. A recent documentary, Los Angeles Shadows of Hope, exposes this reality, portraying lives unraveled by decisions made or avoided by those in authority. For an older generation that values fairness, this moment calls for serious reflection. How can such inequality be tolerated in a city overflowing with resources? The foundations of homelessness, financial pressure, personal loss, and systemic injustice reveal a society at a turning point where action or indifference will determine what comes next. A lethal shadow, fentanyl's hold on Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, from the bright boardwalks of Venice to the quieter streets of the San Fernando Valley, fentanyl has emerged as a silent killer, tightening its grip on the city's homelessness crisis. This substance, 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine, spins a web of devastation through countless lives. In 2024, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported that fentanyl was responsible for 70% of drug-related deaths in Los Angeles County, claiming roughly 200 lives. For those without housing, the burden is even greater, with 60% of their drug-related deaths tied to fentanyl, according to the Los Angeles County Coroner's 2024 report.
So I was so hurt and upset, and just like, I wanted to die. And I snorted the whole bag of fentanyl. I overdosed. They had to give me 2 things of Narcan, and eventually I woke up sick as a dog.
Consider Jackie's Manson, once a warehouse worker in South Los Angeles until 2022, when he lost both his job and his home. Living on the streets, fentanyl, sold for as little as $5 a dose, promised temporary relief from pain, but quickly turned into a snare. His experience, shared in the documentary Los Angeles Shadows of Hope, reflects a broader tragedy. In 2025, the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority reports that 35% of the homeless population, more than 25,000 people, regularly use fentanyl, compared with 21% for other drugs. Addiction reaches deep, tearing away employment, family ties, and any sense of future. For Jackie, as and many others, it brings the constant threat of overdose illnesses like hepatitis C and street violence, making escape from homeless in America feel like a distant hope. The reach of this drug extends outward. Communities near encampments from Hollywood to downtown face rising theft and anxiety, partly fueled by fentanyl's spread. Hospitals strain under the pressure, with a 40% increase in fentanyl-related emergency visits among the homeless between 2023 and 2024. Yet treatment remains limited. Only 10% of addicted homeless individuals receive care such as methadone or buprenorphine, according to 2025 Los Angeles County health data. Why does a city of such wealth falter in confronting this lethal substance? The answer lies in intertwined forces, poverty, housing shortages, and systems that repeatedly neglect the most vulnerable. Fentanyl becomes a last refuge for people who see no other way out.
I've lost a lot of my friends out here from fentanyl being put in the crack cocaine. I found my one friend dead in the alley.
Films like Los Angeles Shadows of Hope illuminate this suffering, revealing lives consumed by addiction's grasp. For an older generation that prizes compassion, this moment demands concern and action. Los Angeles must address not only the drug itself, but the despair that feeds it, expanding treatment and restoring hope for those trapped in the crisis. Only then can people like Jackie's rediscover a path toward dignity and stability. Enduring the Shadows life on Los Angeles' margins. Walk through Los Angeles from Hollywood's neon glare to Venice's sun-faded boardwalks, and the homelessness crisis exposes its harsh, unfiltered reality. In February 2025, the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, LASA, reported 413 people living unsheltered across Los Angeles County, a 9.5% decline from 2024, with 24,895 finding space in temporary shelters. Within city limits, 20,972 people remain without shelter, a slight sign of improvement. These figures suggest movement forward, yet they mask the constant struggle faced by those living within the crisis of homelessness in America, where each day is a fight to endure. Who are these people often overlooked in plain view? They are not an anonymous crowd, but a varied mosaic of lives unaccompanied minors reduced to 56 from 106 in 2024. Young adults between 18 and 24. Families, veterans, and immigrants all carrying heavy histories. In areas like Metro Los Angeles and South Los Angeles, where need is most concentrated, 40% of the unsheltered sleep completely exposed without even a tent or vehicle for protection. Facing brutal weather violence and the lure of fentanyl, their survival reflects remarkable human strength. Still, the price of this existence is devastating. In 2023, more than 900 homeless individuals died in Los Angeles, claimed by overdoses, untreated medical conditions, or accidents, with fentanyl playing a relentless role. Children suffer the deepest wounds. In 2024, nearly 150,000 children experienced homelessness. For at least one night, their schooling disrupted and their lives shaped by trauma. These are not cold numbers, but accounts of postponed dreams of families fractured on the streets of a city known for opportunity. A recent documentary, Los Angeles Shadows of Hope, captures this pain, portraying children clutching worn backpacks and veterans sleeping on benches, their realities sharply contrasted with the city's shine. What does it say about a society that leaves its most vulnerable to survive alone? This crisis, stretching from Skid Row's tent-filled streets to Venice's crowded boardwalks, is more than failed policy. It is a measure of our compassion. For an older generation that holds empathy dear, these stories invite deep reflection. Los Angeles' streets stand as witnesses to lives lived on the brink, where each survived day is a quiet victory and hope flickers faintly. To see these lives persist is to face our shared responsibility to demand change and to ensure no one is abandoned in a city overflowing with promise. Sparks of hope, striving to end the crisis. In Los Angeles, where the homelessness crisis hangs heavy over the city, small signs of progress offer a careful sense of hope. Since declaring a state of emergency in December 2022, Mayor Karen Bass has taken decisive action, rolling out the Inside Safe program to reshape how the city responds. By July 2025, this initiative had relocated more than 21,600 people from large encampments into temporary shelter clearing over 100 sites across Los Angeles, according to the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, LASA. These actions have reduced the city's unsheltered population by 17.5% since Bass assumed office, a limited but important gain. For people once sleeping on the streets of Hollywood or Venice, it represents a fragile first step toward stability, a brief opening to reclaim their lives. Still, temporary shelter is only the beginning. Lasting progress requires permanent housing, and Los Angeles is attempting to meet that demand. In 2024, the city housed 27,994 people in permanent homes, a record milestone fueled by Measure HHH, the voter-approved 2016 bond that financed thousands of affordable housing units. Developments such as Barrington 1503 in West Los Angeles combine housing with shared community spaces, offering environments where individuals and families can start over. Addressing the fentanyl crisis, a force driving homelessness in America is just as essential. In 2025, Los Angeles County opened 5 new treatment facilities providing methadone and buprenorphine to fight opioid addiction. LASA reports that 15% of homeless individuals struggling with fentanyl use, up from 10% in 2024, are now receiving treatment, though demand still far outweighs availability. Each success represents renewed hope, even as thousands continue to wait. Technology is also transforming the response. LASA's real-time database monitors shelter availability and service outcomes, helping direct aid where it is needed most. Predictive tools identify people at risk of homelessness or fentanyl overdose, allowing for earlier intervention. These innovations, highlighted in the documentary Los Angeles Shadows of Hope, demonstrate how data can help preserve lives. Yet one question remains: can progress accelerate quickly enough to keep pace with a crisis that claims lives every day? Advances are visible: fewer tents, more people housed, but success depends on consistent funding and political will. Community backing is equally critical, as opposition to shelters and treatment centers often delays solutions. For an older generation that recalls moments of shared resolve, this is a call to stand behind meaningful action. Los Angeles now faces a pivotal moment where determination and compassion can guide the city toward a future in which no one is left behind. Shadows on the horizon, barriers to lasting change. In Los Angeles, the fight to reduce homelessness runs into serious obstacles that risk dimming even the most hopeful advances. One major barrier is the city's fractured coordination among public agencies. Even with programs like Inside Safe overlapping authority and layers of bureaucracy, slow services on the ground. In 2025, only 25% of unhoused people who engage with outreach teams receive follow-up care within a month, according to Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority LASA data, leaving many without consistent support. This lack of continuity weakens responses to the fentanyl crisis, as treatment services too often miss those who need them most, trapping people in prolonged street survival. Another challenge lies in declining public confidence in long-term solutions. Many residents, doubtful of government effectiveness, are reluctant to back sweeping reforms. A 2024 Los Angeles Times survey found that 60% of voters questioned whether increased funding would meaningfully reduce homelessness, pointing to past failures. This mistrust slows essential efforts, including the expansion of mental health services needed to confront fentanyl addiction. Policies such as the 2025 Los Angeles Ordinance restricting encampments in public spaces have also drawn criticism. Opponents argue these measures simply push people from place to place without offering real alternatives, forcing some deeper into fentanyl use as instability grows. Economic pressures further strain progress. Rising land costs and restrictive zoning in 2025 have stalled affordable housing construction, with only 35% of Measure HOHH projects meeting deadlines due to regulatory hurdles. Gentrification in areas like Boyle Heights displaces low-income residents, swelling the ranks of the unhoused. The documentary Los Angeles Shadows of Hope captures this reality, portraying families pushed out as luxury buildings replace longtime homes. These economic dynamics reinforce a cycle where the most vulnerable lose their footing. How can Los Angeles advance when mistrust, bureaucracy, and financial barriers block the path? Confronting homelessness in America requires a coordinated strategy, simplifying systems, restoring public trust, and placing human dignity at the center. For an older generation that values fairness and shared responsibility, this moment calls for engagement. We must press for policies that cut through red tape, invest in housing and mental health care, and shield those most at risk. Los Angeles can still lead the way, but only if compassion is chosen over indifference. A personal reflection, the weight of our choices. Entering the core of Los Angeles's homelessness crisis, I am overwhelmed by its human toll. Every statistic conceals a life like Jackie's Manson, a man whose world collapsed into fentanyl addiction after he lost his job in 2022. As I walk Los Angeles' streets, from Venice's packed boardwalks to downtown's darkened corners, I witness more than failed policies. I see a moral reckoning unfolding. Homelessness in America does not happen by chance. It grows from decisions placing profit above people, overlooking mental health, and letting inequality take root. The impact of fentanyl, responsible for 60% of drug-related deaths among the homeless in 2024, reveals the lethal cost of delay. What stays with me most is the resilience of those living through this crisis. Children holding frayed toys, veterans sleeping on benches, families clinging to hope against impossible odds. Their perseverance leaves me humbled. Still, their pain requires more than sympathy. It demands responsibility. Why do we tolerate such suffering in a city of abundance? We must insist on policies that expand affordable housing, strengthen addiction treatment, and dismantle systemic barriers, including those that disproportionately push African Americans into homelessness. The voices behind these lives, illuminated in documentaries like Los Angeles Shadows of Hope, urge us toward action. We cannot look away from the tents or the people who live within them.
That was a doctor or a physician talking to me.
For an older generation that believes in justice, this moment calls for engagement. Los Angeles has the potential to lead, showing the country how compassion and innovation can mend even profound wounds. If we choose dignity over indifference, we can change these narratives, offering not only shelter, but renewed hope. This is a responsibility we share to make sure no one is left to disappear in the city's shadows. A vision for tomorrow, ending the crisis. The road toward a Los Angeles without homelessness is demanding, yet it remains within reach. Swift action is essential, expanding affordable housing, widening access to fentanyl treatment, and focusing on vulnerable communities such as youth and African Americans. Efforts like rental assistance and eviction prevention can halt the descent into homelessness before it takes hold. Over time, the city must pursue functional zero, a condition where homelessness is uncommon, short-lived, and does not return. Achieving this goal calls for decisive reforms in housing, jobs, and healthcare, along with forward-looking models like the Skid Row Care Campus, which brings together housing treatment and support under one system. Partnership is vital. Government agencies, nonprofits, and the private sector must work in unison to expand solutions. Neighborhood opposition must shift toward shared responsibility, understanding that homelessness in America touches everyone. Technology, from predictive tools to real-time data systems, can steer these efforts, ensuring help reaches those who need it most. Above all, we must reaffirm the dignity of every person, honoring their experiences and challenges. Why should any child be forced to sleep on the sidewalk in a city so wealthy? Los Angeles has the chance to set an example, turning hardship into hope.